Hello, friends, and welcome to my channel. Today, I want to talk about what I have been listening to this week. Although my week was a busy one, I am lucky that I can listen to books as I work. All of the books this week were new to me and were very different from each other. The books included a couple mysteries, a young adult horror novel, and a take on Cinderella. For me, it was a shocker which one was the most entertaining to me. But let's go ahead and dive into my reviews. The first book I want to talk about is Murder is Binding by Lorna Barrett and narrated by Cassandra Campbell. When she moved to Stoneham, city slicker Trisha Miles met nothing but friendly faces. And when she opened her mystery bookstore, she met friendly competition. But when she finds Doris Gleason dead in her own cookbook store, killed by a carving knife, the atmosphere seems more cutthroat than cordial. Someone wanted to get their hands on the rare cookbook that Doris had recently purchased, and the locals think that someone is Trisha. To clear her name, Trisha will have to take a page out of one of her own mysteries and hunt down someone who isn't killing by the book. This is the book I thought I would enjoy the most out of the books I read this week. I love a good mystery, and this one seemed like a ton of fun. Which it was, although it definitely had its drawbacks. The first major issue I found with this novel is the main character, Trisha. Early on in the novel, she comes off as being rude and bratty towards her older sister, Angelica. It is easy to see these two have a strained relationship, but honestly, Trisha really seemed to need some therapy to get over her animosity towards Angelica. As the novel went on, I began to enjoy the relationship these women were building. The other annoying aspect of Trisha's personality is that she allows others to walk all over her. There is a scene where she is basically assaulted by a man, after which she debates whether it would be rude to gather her own jacket from a closet and leave. It is one of the most infuriating scenes I have listened to in a long time. My last gripe I have is that it is a bit predictable. About halfway through, I knew who committed the murder and why they did it. While there are detractors for this book, I did enjoy it to some extent. As the novel progressed, I started enjoying the relationship between the sisters. Trisha and Angelica bond and really begin to get to know each other, which was one of my favorite things about this book. I also will say that Cassandra Campbell does an adequate job of narrating the book. Overall, it was just an okay read, and the narration was adequate. The second book of my week was Better Homes and Hauntings by Molly Harper and narrated by Amanda Ronconi. Nina Liddon is hired to do the landscaping for a mansion on a private island. Her new client is billionaire Deacon Whitney, who is renovating his family's run-down estate, an estate that comes with its own tragic story and a few ghosts. Will they be able to figure out the mystery and put the tragic past to rest? I said this was a mystery in my opening to this video, but I would classify this as a paranormal romance, which is definitely not a genre I read very often, if ever. I really chose this book on a whim. When I started this novel, I had an inkling that it would be like The Haunting of Hill House, but I was mistaken. It does include some elements, such as 5 different people being secluded in an old haunted house. This is really where the comparison ends. I enjoyed the humor of this novel. The characters were goofy and relatable. Although we focus on Deacon and Nina, there are other characters who are quite interesting. I liked Dottie, Cindy, and Jack, and thought that they added to the story. Honestly, this was just an okay book. I was able to finish it and enjoyed some of the moments of it. I also enjoyed Amanda Ronconi's narration. She does a pretty good job of creating voices and atmosphere, but I wouldn't exactly seek out this author's books again. The third book I read this week was Small Spaces by Catherine Arden, narrated by Renee Dorian. 11-year-old Ollie rescues a beat up old book from a crazy woman who is trying to throw the book into a creek. The book enthralls Ollie with the story of a young girl named Beth, who is caught between two brothers who love her. The story culminates in a deal with a sinister man called the Smiling Man. Soon, Ollie is warned of the Smiling Man and is sent on a scary adventure of her own. Is the Smiling Man real? And will she be able to save herself and her classmates? This is a young adult horror novel. While I am not its target audience, I have to say it was an interesting and fun listen. At times, I had to remind myself it was written for younger readers. But beyond that, the story is compelling and you want it to have a happy ending. The book gives some Alice in Wonderland vibes while maintaining a darker storyline. Renee Dorian does an excellent job of narrating. She captures the characters, tone, and atmosphere. I would recommend this novel for 10 to 12-year-olds, but adults will also enjoy it. The last book I read this week was Geekerella by Ashley Poston, narrated by Eileen Stevens and Tristan Morris. Geek girl Elle Whittemere lives and breathes Starfield, the classic science fiction series she grew up watching with her late father. So when she sees a cosplay contest for a new Starfield movie, she has to enter. The prize, an invitation to the Excelsicon cosplay ball, and a meet and greet with the actor slated to play Federation Prince Carmador in the reboot. With the savings from her gig at the Magic Pumpkin food truck and her father's old costume, Elle's determined to win, unless her stepsisters get there first. Teen actor Darian Freeman used to live for cons before he was famous. Now they're nothing but autographs and awkward meet and greets. Playing Carmador is all he has ever wanted, but Starfield fandom has written him off as just another dumb heartthrob. As Salsicon draws near, Darian feels more and more like a fake, until he meets a girl who shows him otherwise. But when she disappears at midnight, will he ever be able to find her again? For me, this was the shocker of the week. I really enjoyed this silly novel. I am a complete sucker for a cute love story, and this one delivered. I love the different take on Cinderella. The reader really gets to know Elle, who is smart, funny, nostalgic, and a bit insecure. I also like that we got to know Prince Charming, Darian. It was fun to hear his insecurities and his wants. He was not just some guy you meet at a ball. Plus, there is an adorable dog and a great best friend to complete the story. My biggest complaint is Tristan Morris's narration. It is not as good as Eileen Stevens. I will also say the audiobook needs better editing. Some lines are repeated, which is a little annoying. Overall, this was a fun listen and one I will probably go back to. I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with me. Please leave any comments with what you have been reading and if it was worth it in the comment section. Have a great week.